welcome back to my channel. It's Lou here, and we're going to rank my top 10 comedy horror movies. Last video, if you remember, I ranked the top 8 horror movie genres. And so starting with this video, I'm gonna start from number 8, which is comedy horror. I'm gonna work my way all the way through number 1, which is the found footage genre. And within each category, I'm gonna give my top 10. So without anything more to wait on, let's get after this. Before we get started, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe, the share button, and above all, comment. Once I'm done with releasing this list, you tell me what you think, because I love to go over the horror genre with people because it's my favorite genre out of all of them. So let's talk about this thing. Don't forget to hit those buttons. But before we count down the top 10, I want to give an honorable mention. Last night I was looking for something to watch. I was on Netflix, and this one movie just came across when I was looking for something horror. Surprise, surprise, to watch. And I saw this one that says Zom 100, Bucket List of the Dead. So I was like, what the heck is this? I didn't know nothing about it, had never heard about it. So I clicked on it and watched it, and oh my gosh, talk about a over-the-top comedy, zombie horror movie. And it was a ton of fun. It's actually, I had to do research on this thing because this movie was actually a Magna comic book series in Japan, and I guess they sold the rights or whatever, and Netflix made a live action movie of this thing, and it was over the top. It follows this young guy who's, getting to the workforce, and he just leads a mundane, rough life of going to work every day and in the grind, and then this apocalypse takes over. And so he finds out he has more fun and loves life more in the zombie apocalypse, and decides to create this bucket list of 100 things he wants to do before he becomes zombie food. Talk about an over-the-top movie. I mean, it was a ton of fun. There was a lot of laughs, but I won't spoil anything for you, but kind of tell you how over-the-top this thing was there's a zombie shark in this thing. And not just any zombie shark. This thing eats the zombies that fall into the water, and then this shark turns into a zombie, and then sprouts the legs of the zombies that he ate come out of his belly, and he's able to walk on land. It's insane. It's insane. It's so much fun. And if you have a chance to watch it while it's on Netflix, because it just came out, I think, in October, so it's going to be around for a minute. But if you have a chance to watch this one, my honorable mention, just for this list, was Zom 100, Bucket List of the Dead. All right, coming in at number 10 on my list of comedy horror, let's start off with a classic. Not a lot of you have probably even heard of this one. I'm going to date myself. Came out when I was 12 years old. Came back out in 1986. Little Shop of Horrors. Yes, it's a good one. It's a musical. It used to be a Broadway show, I guess, back in the day before they turned it into a movie. And there's a lot of big actors in this movie that have a lot of cameo appearances. But basically, this movie starts off with this little flower shop that the manager's going to close down because business is bad. And Rick Moranis' character, forget his name, finds a plant when he's out looking for, when he's out shopping around for plants that he might be able to turn around and sell in the shop to try to make a little money. And this little plant he finds is very unusual, and he brings it back, and automatically people start coming and looking at the flower shop because of this unusual plant that he names Audrey. And if you've ever seen the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's a ton of fun. Frank Oz is a big proponent of this movie. He does all the puppetry for the plant itself, and it's a ton of fun. And it's a musical, like I said, so some people might not be into it, but I really enjoy it. So when I think of a good comedy horror, I think of Little Shop of Horrors, believe it or not, coming in at number 10. Coming in at number 9 on the comedy horror genre is the 2009 classic Zombieland. What's not to like about Zombieland? It's a ton of fun. I think what makes this movie so unique is Jesse Eisenberg's character, whose name is Columbus. has these rules that he lives by in order to survive a zombie apocalypse. And who can forget the overall double tap, which is pretty much became synonymous with zombies once that movie came out. And it's a ton of fun. I really enjoy it. It's been a minute since I watched it, but as I was coming up with this list, Zombieland just automatically came to my head because it's a good one. There's a lot of good comedy. Woody Harrelson is phenomenal in this one because he's just being himself, just this redneck type of guy that's completely polar opposite of Columbus's character. So they clash really well together, but they get along really good. There's so much you can say about this movie. There are just some over-the-top kills, like Zombie Kill of the Week, which is a big thing to these two. The way that they shot this thing, it was a ton of fun. And if you have not seen Zombieland, I don't know what you're waiting for. I guarantee you're going to really enjoy this one. So coming in at number 9 is Zombieland. Coming in at number 8 is the 1988 movie Killer Clowns from Outer Space. It's a cult classic. I remember watching this thing. Man, I don't even know if I saw it when it came out. I was a freshman in high school, so I think I might have seen it when it came out. It's one of those movies that it didn't get a lot of attention, as a lot of horror movies tend to not get. But as the movie wears on, it just builds this, this following. And Killer Clowns from Outer Space is one of those movies. It just follows this little town who gets overrun by aliens, but they look like clowns. And the funny thing is, if you go to any Spirit Halloween or any Halloween in general, you probably have seen these clowns. You probably just don't know where they're from or whatever. And yeah, this movie, it was great. What was really cool about this one, it relied so heavy on practical effects, which is I'm a big believer in. I love practical effects in movies. I'm not too, CGI has its place when it's done correctly. When it's too much, and it just takes away from the movie. But a good practical effect just makes the movie, and that's what Killer Clowns is. It's a good time. The soundtrack is awesome. And the practical effects, the movie itself, it's pretty fun. So if you haven't seen this one, what are you waiting for? Find it. It's out there somewhere. So coming at number 8 is Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Coming in at number 7 on the list is the 2011 classic Cabin in the Woods. What's not to say? The moment you say it, if you've seen this movie, it's insane. It's pretty fun. It's over the top with what the movie's about, which basically it's these 4 people that are on a retreat to a cabin in the woods, and they fall victim to a science experiment where these people have created this world that they're in control of. And what makes the movie insane is that they control what happens to these people. And so there could be zombies and vampires or just, creatures. It's like they threw everything at the wall and everything stuck to this movie as far as different genres. And what made it even funnier as you're watching the movie is these technicians that are in control of what happens in this little world is that they're taking cash bets on who's going to win, who's going to survive and whatnot. So it's pretty fun. If you've seen it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't, you need to watch this movie because it's an instant classic. You'll be added to your library of I need to watch this, a couple times because it's a ton of fun. So coming at number 7 is Cabin in the Woods. Coming in at number 6 on the list is the 1987 movie, Evil Dead 2. It has to be on the list. If it didn't, I think a lot of you would roast me to infinity if I didn't get Evil Dead on here. Some of you would be like, it should be number 1. But once again, it's my list. And this, I think, falls where it needs to be, considering what I have also coming up. But what's not to like about Bruce Campbell's character, Ash, who him and his girlfriend go to the woods. Why don't these people learn not to go in the woods? They would avoid a lot of issues and stuff if they would just stay out of the woods. Anyways, it follows him and his girlfriend go into the woods. He finds this tape that's, once he plays it, all hell breaks loose. And, he becomes possessed and, he has to fight demons and all this insanity. What makes Evil Dead 2 so insane is why I really like it is practical effects. You're going to hear me say that a couple times. it's just blood galore, over the top with everything it does. The prosthetics, you can just see that back in the 80s, it was still heavy on the practical effects, on just, being masters of what they did for these movies. And this one is no different. Even feels a little, if you've ever seen the original Clash of the Titans movie, there's a scene in there. I wish I could remember that creature's name with the long head. But where it has that feel to it with the way they shot it. It was really cool. Another insane scene was when his hand becomes possessed and his hand tries to kill him. And I totally forgotten about that scene until I watched that movie, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy. He ends up chopping his whole hand off because it's, he's going crazy and he's fighting himself. And then of course, the laughter scene. If you've seen this movie, that weird laughter scene where everything in the room laughs. The deer head on the wall mount is laughing. The lamp, the bookcase, he just goes insane laughing. It's crazy. If you've never seen it, do yourself a favor. You need to go watch the Evil Dead series. They're really good. But number 2 is way up there on a lot of people's lists because of just how crazy and over the top the movie was. So coming in at number 6, Evil Dead 2. We are into the top 5. Here we go. This starts to get really tied up here at the very top. But coming in at number 5 on the list is the 1988 Beetlejuice, Michael Keaton. It has to be on the list. Who doesn't like Beetlejuice? Actually, I have seen some comments where people don't like Beetlejuice because maybe they didn't get it or whatever. But it's insane. If you've seen Beetlejuice, yeah, it has to be up there. It's got to be up there because it's funny. They touch on different little genres within this movie, but it's pretty much over the top. Beetlejuice, Michael Keaton, follows Beetlejuice, who is this young couple is dies in a car accident, and they hire Beetlejuice to come exorcise the people who are living in their house, get them out of their house. But Beetlejuice has other plans in mind, and it's pretty fun. There's a lot of great actors in this movie, like Gina Davis, Winona Ryder, and just the list of other really good actors in this movie that make up this really, really good movie that never gets old. And as I'm recording this, I think they're supposed to be making a part 2. And then please don't mess it up. That's all I can really say, right? Don't mess it up. So coming in at number 5 is the 1988 classic Beetlejuice. Coming in at number 4, I bet a lot of you may not even have heard of this movie or know anything about it, or have even seen it for that matter. The 1991 awesome Wes Craven People Under the Stairs. Yes, they're getting ready to remake a new one of it, but no, you need to watch the original one. I remember watching this one in theaters and just laughing so much because it was so much fun. Basically, it follows this young boy and 2 adult robbers who break into this crooked couple who owns the neighborhood, the landlords, and they break into their house to find these gold coins. And once they get into the house, they realize that they got much more than they bargained for. They start realizing there's a lot of dark secrets in this house, and it's pretty fun. This movie, I watched it, as a matter of fact, I think about 6 months ago I watched it because I hadn't seen it in a good hot minute. But once I watched it, I texted my son and I said, have you seen this? And he, surprisingly, but not surprisingly, he said, yeah, I watched it, a couple months back, and he enjoyed it. So if you've never seen People Under the Stairs, the 1991 version, you need to do yourself a favor and watch it. I guarantee you will enjoy it because it's a classic. It's a good one. So coming in at number 4, The People Under the Stairs. Coming in at number 3 is the 1996 classic directed by the master, Wes Craven. What's there to say? Scream. There's been 6 of these things, and they're all really, really good movies. I remember when this came out, there had been a lull in the horror industry of a good scary movie, and then this thing came along, and it just woke everyone up all over again to where Ghostface is one of those Mount Rushmores of iconic horror movie icons. And what's not to love about this one? The actors in this thing were great. The writing was phenomenal, and it was awesome from beginning to end. Opening sequence with Drew Barrymore, it just immediately caught your attention. And since then, they've done really well. I watched the latest one, Scream 6, I believe, not too long ago. It wasn't too bad. The Scream that came right before it was really good. I like the way reattacked this movie that had been already, had come 4 more before it. But really good. If you haven't seen it, I mean, everyone who, unless you're living under a rock or you're not into horror movies, do yourself a favor and watch this one. There's not too much gore. There's blood in there, but it's good comedy with the horror mix in there. So coming at number 3 is Scream. Coming in at number 2, here we go. The 2004 awesome movie, Shaun of the Dead. Yes, it's awesome. I don't know what more is to say about it. It follows this one salesperson who's not respected by his fellow workers. His girlfriend dumps him, and so he's kind of just a nobody. Him and his buddy they play games, and they're just kind of involved in their own little world and whatnot. And all around them, this zombie apocalypse takes on, so they gotta survive the zombie apocalypse, and it's pretty fun. What's not to like about Shaun of the Dead? I mean, the moment I start talking about it, I start to smile because it's fun the way they reinvigorated the zombie genre back then. Because I don't think a zombie movie had come out that was really worth anything back in the early 2000s. It'd been asleep for a while, and this came out, and it was fun. It was they just decided we're gonna do something different with zombies and add comedy to it and still have the gore factor in there, and it's a ton of fun. It's a good guy movie because these two guys, even when his best friend gets turned into a zombie, they still remain friends, playing games together and whatnot. At the very end, it's pretty fun. But if you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor, watch Shaun of the Dead. You'll enjoy it. So coming in at number 2 is Shaun of the Dead. Here we are. Coming in at number 1 on the list of comedy horror is the 1985 awesome movie, Return of the Living Dead. Yes, that's right. I said it. It is the number 1 of the comedy horror genre because it's awesome. I remember back when this movie came out, it freaked me out because before that we had, Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, then Day of the Dead. All slower moving zombies from the George Romero universe. And then this one came out. These dudes could run fast. They could talk. And that flipped me out. That just, oh my gosh. When that one zombie gets on the radio and says, send more cops. It blew me away. It freaked me out. And you just add what the movie's about, which follows these warehouse workers that accidentally release this toxic chemical into the warehouse, and it, brings a cadaver back to life, and they gotta get rid of it. So they end up chopping it up and trying to burn it. But then once all the ash and the smoke goes in the outside, it just falls in the graveyard, and then just all hell breaks loose, and these zombies come out of nowhere. And it's fun. The one-liners in this movie are so phenomenal that it never gets old. Just because of what that movie was all about, for the 80s, it was great. If you've never seen Return of the Living Dead, you need to watch this one, and you'll see why it's ranked at the very top, because it's got everything in there. So coming at number 1, Return of the Living Dead. So there you have it, my top 10 comedy horror movies. What'd you think? Am I on point or am I way off base? Let me know. Comment down below. Tell me what you thought of my list. Does your list have something similar, or is it completely different? Tell me. I'd love to see what different people's lists are like. I mean, my list may be totally different from what other people have. What I have, some people might not have any of them on there, which that's totally cool. I understand. But let's talk about it. Like I said before, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, share, and comment down below, and let's talk about this. Until next time, go watch one of these movies. I guarantee you'll have a good time.